From the ashes of Earth, the sky burned crimson over what remained of London. Commander Silas Harper watched through his damaged tactical visor as alien warships hovered like massive obsidian blades against the blood-red clouds. 6 months since the Nevari invasion, and Earth had been reduced to smoldering ruins. Major cities lay in waste, military forces decimated, governments toppled. The aliens had come without warning or mercy, their technological superiority overwhelming Earth's defenses within days. Harper adjusted his exosuit's damaged power coupling, the burnt circuitry leaving a sharp metallic taste in his mouth. The prototype combat armor, once the pride of Earth's defense technology, now bore scorch marks and dents from countless skirmishes. Like humanity itself, it remained functional but severely damaged. "Commander, sensors are picking up a patrol squad approaching from the southeast," whispered Lieutenant Maya Chen, her own exosuit's stealth system flickering as she crouched beside him. Her face, half obscured by tactical gear, showed the same grim determination that had kept their small squad alive when millions had perished. "Distance?" Harper asked, his voice quiet but steady. 2 kilometers and closing. 6 drones, 2 hunter-walkers. Harper nodded, surveying what remained of his team. 20 soldiers when the invasion began, now reduced to 7. The best Earth had to offer, hidden among ruins, while aliens systematically exterminated what remained of humanity. "We move to Extraction Point Delta," he ordered. "The research facility data isn't going to deliver itself." The squad moved like ghosts through the devastated cityscape, each step calculated to avoid detection. Their mission was simple yet possibly humanity's last hope: retrieve experimental data from a hidden research laboratory that had continued working until the final bombardment 3 days ago. Harper's mind replayed the encrypted message that had reached their hidden base camp. Dr. Elisa Matsuo, one of Earth's leading quantum physicists, claimed to have discovered something critical about the Nevari technology, a potential weakness. She hadn't survived to deliver the information personally, but her dying act had been to secure the data and send coordinates to the resistance. The research facility lay hidden beneath the ruins of Imperial College, its entrance concealed by debris and sophisticated holographic camouflage. Harper's team secured the perimeter while Maya's nimble fingers worked through the security protocols. "We're in," she announced as a hidden door slid open, revealing a narrow access tunnel. The facility below showed signs of a desperate last stand. Bodies of scientists and security personnel littered the corridors, having given their lives to protect what might be humanity's last hope. The central laboratory remained intact, its quantum computers still humming with power from emergency generators. "Start the download," Harper ordered as they reached the main terminal. "And make it quick. Those patrols won't miss this place forever." Maya connected their specialized data drive, designed to bypass Nevari detection algorithms. Information flowed into the secure device. Terabytes of research, simulations, and observations. "Sir, you need to see this," Maya called, her eyes wide as she scrolled through files. Dr. Matsuo wasn't just theorizing. She managed to capture and analyze a Nevari drone. Their entire technology is based on a quantum communication network. Their ships, weapons, even their tactical systems, they're all connected through quantum entanglement. Harper leaned closer. "What does that mean for us?" "It means they have no lag, no delay in commands or information. It's what makes them so coordinated, so effective." "But," Maya paused, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor, "quantum entanglement is incredibly sensitive to certain frequencies. Dr. Matsuo was developing a resonance disruptor that could temporarily break their quantum links." "You're saying we could cut them off from each other, disrupt their communication?" "More than that. Their weapons, navigation systems, even life support, all connected through the same quantum network. Disrupt it, and we could turn their technology against them." A sudden explosion rocked the facility. Dust and concrete rained down from the ceiling as alarm systems blared. "They found us," Lieutenant Reyes called from his position at the entrance. Multiple hostiles approaching. Download status. Harper demanded. 93%. Maya responded, her fingers flying across the interface. Just a few more seconds. Harper unholstered his pulse rifle, the weapon's charge indicator glowing blue in the dim emergency lighting. Everyone, defensive positions. We hold until that download completes. The squad moved with practiced efficiency, taking cover as the first wave of Niveri drones breached the outer security door. The sleek insectoid machines moved with unnatural precision, their weapon systems humming with energy. Harper's first shot struck a drone directly in its sensor array, sending it spinning into a wall. The rest of his team opened fire, filling the narrow corridor with pulses of energy. 3 more drones fell, but the remaining attackers advanced relentlessly. Download complete, Maya shouted, disconnecting the drive and securing it in her exosuit's shielded compartment. Fall back to the secondary exit, Harper ordered. Rise, deploy the charges. Reyes nodded grimly, activating the demolition explosives they'd placed during entry. The squad retreated through a maintenance tunnel as the first charges detonated, bringing down tons of concrete and steel between them and their pursuers. The journey back to their hidden base took 14 hours, evading patrols and navigating through ruins. When they finally arrived at the abandoned subway station that served as their command center, they were met by the remaining resistance leadership, a collection of military officers, scientists, and civilian specialists who had somehow survived the initial onslaught. Admiral Helena Ortiz, once the commander of Earth's now destroyed Pacific Fleet, studied the data with increasing excitement. "This is real," she breathed. "Matsuo actually found it, their weakness." Dr. Victor Kazarian, a weapons designer who had escaped the destruction of Geneva, nodded eagerly. "The resonance patterns are clear. If we can build this disruptor and find a way to broadcast it across the right frequencies." "Can you build it?" Harper asked directly. Kazarian exchanged glances with the other scientists. "With what we've salvaged. Maybe a prototype, something with limited range. But to affect their entire network, we'd need access to what remains of our satellite infrastructure or one of their communication relays." Admiral Ortiz straightened her weathered uniform jacket. "Then that's our next objective. We build the prototype, test it, and then find a way to deploy it on a global scale." "With respect, Admiral," Harper interjected, "the Niveri control everything above ground. Any major operation risks exposing our remaining forces." "I understand the risks, Commander," Ortiz replied, her voice firm. "But this is the first real hope we've had since they arrived. We either take this chance or we wait until they find our last hiding places and finish what they started." The room fell silent, the weight of their situation pressing down on every survivor present. "We'll need more than just the disruptor," Maya said, breaking the silence. "We need a target, something valuable enough that disrupting it will give us a meaningful advantage." Lieutenant Reyes, studying the salvaged tactical display, suddenly smiled. "I think I have one. There's a Niveri command ship that enters low orbit over the Atlantic every 36 hours. It coordinates all drone activities across Europe and North Africa. If we could disrupt its systems even temporarily, we could reclaim ground," Harper finished. "Create safe zones where they can't operate effectively." "It's a start," Admiral Ortiz agreed. "Kazarian, how quickly can you have a prototype?" "With these resources and this data, 72 hours, minimum." "You have 48, she replied. "Commander Harper, your team will test it as soon as it's operational. If it works, we'll plan a strike on that command ship." For the first time since the invasion, a sense of purpose energized the underground chamber. Scientists huddled around terminals, soldiers prepared equipment, and communication specialists began reaching out to other resistance cells that might have survived. Harper found himself in a quiet corner, repairing his exosuit while watching the frantic activity. Maya approached, carrying 2 cups of synthetic coffee, a luxury in their current situation. "Do you think it will work?" she asked quietly, handing him one of the cups. Harper considered the question. I don't know, but it's something they don't expect. The Niveri think they've won, that we're just vermin to be exterminated at their leisure. They don't understand that humans are at their most dangerous when cornered. Maya smiled slightly. Humanity's last stand. No, Harper replied, his voice firm, as he looked across the chamber at the scientists working feverishly on the disruptor prototype. Humanity's first counterattack. 43 hours later, Dr. Kazarian emerged from his makeshift laboratory, exhaustion etched on his face, but triumph in his eyes. The prototype resonance disruptor was a crude assembly of salvaged components and repurposed Niveri technology, but initial tests showed promising results. Limited range, he explained as the leadership gathered. Maybe 500 meters at full power. But it works. It creates a cascading disruption in their quantum field. In the affected area, their systems should experience complete failure. Harper studied the device. How do we deploy it? That's the difficult part, Kazarian admitted. It needs to be placed directly under their command ship when it passes overhead. The power requirements are enormous, and once activated, it will be instantly detectable. A suicide mission, Rice stated flatly. Not necessarily, Maya interjected. We've been mapping Niveri patrol patterns for months. There's a brief window during each orbital pass when their ground forces reposition. If we time it perfectly. Admiral Ortiz nodded decisively. Prepare a detailed operation plan. I want this test conducted within 24 hours. If it works, we immediately begin planning for the main assault on their command ship. As the others dispersed to their tasks, Harper remained, staring at the disruptor. The device represented more than just a weapon. It was proof that humanity could understand and counter the alien technology that had so thoroughly dominated them. Thinking deep thoughts, Commander, Admiral Ortiz asked, joining him. Wondering if one small victory will make any difference in the end, he admitted. She placed a weathered hand on his shoulder. When you're drowning, the first breath of air makes all the difference in the world. We need this victory, Harper, not just tactically, but for morale. If we can hurt them, even once, it proves they're not gods. Just invaders who made the mistake of thinking humans would go quietly into extinction. The test operation was set for dusk the following day. A Niveri patrol route passed near an abandoned power substation that could provide the energy needed for the disruptor. Harper's team would deploy the device, activate it as a drone squad passed overhead, and then extract before reinforcements arrived. As they prepared their equipment, a sense of nervous anticipation filled the base. For months, they had been running, hiding, barely surviving. Now, they were about to strike back. Remember, Harper told his team as they made final adjustments to their exosuits, this is just a test. We confirm the disruptor works, then we extract. No heroics. The evening sky was clouded with dust and smoke, a constant since the bombardment. As they moved through the ruins toward the target zone, the substation still had emergency power systems that could be jury-rigged to power the disruptor. They'd reached the position without incident, a rare stroke of luck in their war of survival. Maya and Kazarian immediately began connecting the device to the power systems, while Harper and the others established a perimeter. Niveri patrol approaching, Rice reported from his observation post. 6 drones, standard formation. ETA 3 minutes. Harper acknowledged with a hand signal, then joined Maya at the disruptor. Status. Power levels building, she replied, not looking up from her work. We'll have one shot at this. When I give the word, Kazarian will trigger the device. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. Harper could hear the faint hum of approaching drones, the sound that had become synonymous with death for so many humans. They're entering the target zone, Rice whispered over the comm. Maya's eyes remained fixed on the power readings. Almost there. Almost. Now. Kazarian pressed the activation sequence. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. No visible beam, no explosive sound, Nothing to indicate the device was working. Then the drones fell from the sky. One moment they were flying in perfect formation. The next they dropped like stones, crashing into ruined buildings and streets. Their lights flickered and died, weapon systems went dark, and the omnipresent hum ceased. It worked. Maya breathed, disbelief and joy warring in her voice. It actually worked. Harper approached one of the fallen drones cautiously, his weapon ready. The machine lay inert, its system completely shut down. What had been a deadly hunter was now just a piece of metal and circuitry. "Confirm all targets neutralized," he ordered, his professional demeanor hiding his own elation. "All 6 drones down," Rice confirmed. "No signs of reactivation or distress signals." "Pack it up," Harper commanded. "We need to get this device and all data back to base immediately." As they carefully disconnected the disruptor and prepared for extraction, Harper looked at the fallen drones once more. For the first time since the invasion began, the Nevari had lost a battle. It was small, almost insignificant in the grand scheme of their global occupation, but it was proof that they could be fought, could be defeated. The humans melted back into the ruins, carrying with them more than just the disruptor technology. They carried the first real hope that humanity might yet survive. Operation Thunderstrike. The underground command center hummed with activity unlike anything since before the invasion. The successful test of the resonance disruptor had transformed the resistance overnight. Where before there had been grim determination to survive, now there was purpose, a plan to strike back against the Nevari oppressors. Commander Silas Harper studied the holographic display showing what remained of Earth's resistance forces. The data was incomplete, communications limited by the need to avoid Nevari detection, but it told a story of surprising resilience. Across every continent, humans had survived, adapted, and organized. Reports from the Asian sectors confirmed they've successfully replicated the disruptor technology. Lieutenant Maya Chen reported, swiping through encrypted communications, Australia and South America as well. "We've distributed Dr. Matsuo's research to every cell we can reach." Admiral Ortiz nodded approvingly. "And the targeting data for their orbital assets. Lieutenant Reyes has compiled everything we have." Maya responded. "The Nevari maintain 16 command ships in low Earth orbit, each controlling the ground forces in their respective sectors. If we can disrupt even half of them simultaneously, we create chaos in their command structure," Harper concluded. "A window of opportunity." The plan had evolved rapidly over the 2 weeks since their successful test. What had begun as a hope to disrupt a single command ship had expanded into something far more ambitious, a coordinated global attack against the entire Nevari control network. Dr. Kazarian had improved the disruptor design, increasing its range and efficiency. Using salvaged Nevari components, resistance cells worldwide were constructing their own versions. The attack, now codenamed Operation Thunderstrike, would target not just the orbital command ships but key ground installations as well. "The timing has to be perfect," Harper emphasized, addressing the assembled leadership. "Once we activate the first disruptor, the Nevari will immediately begin countermeasures. We'll have minutes at most before they adapt." "Which is why we're hitting every target simultaneously," Admiral Ortiz replied. "Their quantum network is their strength, but also their vulnerability. When it fails, they'll experience cascading system failures across their entire force structure." The briefing continued, covering extraction plans, secondary targets, and contingencies for various scenarios. Throughout it all, Harper noticed something he hadn't seen in months: genuine hope on the faces around him. Later, as he checked his equipment for the upcoming mission, Maya found him in the armory. "Command just received word from the Moscow cell," she said, her expression serious. "They've detected unusual Nevari activity in the past 24 hours. More patrols, increased drone deployment." Harper frowned. "Do they think our operation has been compromised?" "Unknown. But they've also observed some of their ships adjusting orbit. Something's happening." "Could be coincidence," Harper said, though he didn't believe it himself. Or they could be preparing for something of their own. Should we delay Thunderstrike? Harper considered the question carefully. If we delay, we risk losing the element of surprise entirely. The longer we wait, the more chance the Niveri have of discovering what we're planning. So we proceed. We proceed, he confirmed, but alert all cells to be prepared for heavier resistance than anticipated. The night before the operation, Harper couldn't sleep. He found himself wandering through the underground complex, checking preparations, reviewing plans, and finally ending up in the memorial chamber, a solemn space where the names of the fallen were etched into salvaged metal plates. Millions of names should have been there. They had room for only a few thousand, those they knew personally, comrades lost in the fight. Harper traced his fingers over several, his former commanding officer, friends from the pre-invasion military, civilians who had joined the resistance only to fall in early skirmishes. Can't sleep either. Admiral Ortiz's voice came from behind him. Just making sure we haven't missed anything, Harper replied. Ortiz smiled sadly. We've always missed something. That's the nature of war. We plan, prepare, train, and then chaos takes over. Encouraging words the night before a major operation, Admiral. I'm not here to offer false comfort, Commander, she said, moving to stand beside him at the memorial wall. I'm here because I know exactly what you're feeling. The weight of tomorrow, the lives that depend on our decisions. Harper nodded silently. You know what got me through the darkest days after the invasion, she continued. Not hope for victory. That seemed impossible. It was simpler than that. I just wanted the Niveri to remember that humans don't surrender, don't go extinct without leaving scars on those who try to erase us. And now, Ortiz's eyes gleamed with fierce determination. Now I want to remind them what happens when you corner a species that survived everything from ice ages to its own nuclear weapons. Tomorrow isn't just about survival anymore, Harper. It's about showing the Niveri they made the worst mistake in their history when they chose Earth as a target. Dawn brought final preparations. Across the globe, resistance cells moved into position, disruptors were powered up, and strike teams prepared for the brief window of opportunity the technology would provide. Harper led his team toward their primary target, a Niveri ground control center that coordinated drone activities across Western Europe. The facility, a towering structure of alien design, stood where the Eiffel Tower had once been, a deliberate statement of conquest. They approached through the sewers and metro tunnels that had survived the bombardment, emerging half a kilometer from the target. The area was heavily patrolled, but they had mapped blind spots in the Niveri sensor network. T-minus 20 minutes to synchronization, Maya reported as they reached their final position. All teams reporting ready status. Harper surveyed the alien structure through high-powered optics. No indication they're expecting us. Deploy the disruptor. The device, larger and more powerful than their test version, was carefully positioned and connected to power cells. Unlike the test, this operation would use multiple disruptors worldwide, creating a cascading failure that would ripple through the Niveri quantum network. T-minus 5 minutes, Maya counted down, monitoring global communications through their secure channel. All primary targets covered. Secondary teams in position. Harper felt a strange calm settle over him. After months of helplessness against the alien technology, they were about to turn the invaders' greatest strength into a catastrophic weakness. 60 seconds. Around the world, resistance fighters waited, disruptors powered and targeted, weapons ready for the moment the Niveri defenses failed. 30 seconds. Harper checked his pulse rifle one last time, the weapon's energy cell glowing with full charge. 10 seconds. 5. Initiating global activation. Maya pressed the sequence that synchronized their disruptor with all others worldwide. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen, just as in their test. Then the Niveri facility before them changed. The smooth, constant glow of its surfaces flickered. Defense drones patrolling its perimeter dropped from the air. Alarm signals pulsed across its structure in chaotic patterns. Disruptor functioning at 100%. Maya reported, reading data from their monitors. Quantum disruption extending to primary and secondary targets. All teams, execute Phase 2, Harper commanded into the global channel. Resistance fighters worldwide emerged from hiding, advancing on suddenly vulnerable Niveri positions. Harper led his team toward the control center, encountering disoriented alien defenders whose coordinated tactics had dissolved into confusion. The battle was fierce but one-sided. Without their integrated systems and neural network, the invaders fought as individuals against humans who had spent months preparing for exactly this moment. Harper's team breached the control center within minutes, securing access to the facility's core systems. Maya immediately began the process of extracting tactical data, while the rest of the team established a defensive perimeter. Harper, Maya called urgently from her position at the alien console. I'm finding something unexpected in their deployment patterns. They've been pulling forces from outlying areas, concentrating them around specific locations. What locations? That's just it. They're not strategic points. She paused, confusion evident. They're mostly underground access points, old mines, deep cave systems. A chill ran through Harper. They knew we were hiding underground. They were preparing a purge. If we'd delayed Thunderstrike even by a few days. The realization of how close they'd come to extinction hung in the air between them. Commander, Reyes called from his position. We're receiving reports from orbital observation teams. The Niveri command ships are experiencing catastrophic systems failures. 3 have already begun uncontrolled descent into the atmosphere. Harper moved to the viewing port that overlooked Paris. In the distance, a bright streak appeared in the morning sky, a command ship breaking apart as it fell toward Earth. How long until the disruptor's effects wear off? He asked. Unknown, Maya replied. Projections suggested hours, but the cascading effect through their network is more extensive than we anticipated. It could be days before they recover full functionality. Then we push the advantage, Harper decided. Order all cells to secure as much territory and technology as possible. Priority on their communication relays and weapons caches. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of coordinated attacks, rapid advances, and the systematic dismantling of Niveri control systems. Humanity, having lived like hunted animals for months, emerged with a vengeance. Cities were reclaimed, alien technology captured and repurposed, and a perimeter established around key resources. When the Niveri finally began to recover from the quantum disruption, they found themselves in an entirely changed tactical situation. Instead of isolated, disorganized human survivors, they faced a coordinated global resistance that had claimed significant territory and resources. 3 weeks after Operation Thunderstrike, Harper stood on the roof of their new headquarters, the very control center they had captured on that first day. Admiral Ortiz joined him, watching as resistance aircraft, some human, some repurposed Niveri vessels, patrolled the secured airspace. They've attempted 3 counter-offensives in the Asian sector, she reported. All repelled. Our adaptation of their shield technology is holding. And the quantum barriers, operational around all major strongholds. They can't reconnect their network within our controlled territories. Harper nodded, satisfaction mixing with the knowledge that the war was far from over. Have we deciphered any more of their communications? I want to know what they're saying about all this. Ortiz smiled slightly. Our linguists have translated some transmissions between their remaining command ships. One phrase keeps recurring. They have a term that roughly translates as calculation error. Apparently, their models predicted we would be fully subjugated by now. A calculation error, Harper repeated, looking out over the reclaimed city where humans and captured alien technology now work together. I suppose that's one way to describe underestimating humanity. The War Council has approved your proposal, Ortiz said, changing subjects. Operation Vanguard begins next month. We'll take the fight to their orbital platforms. Harper considered the immensity of what they were attempting, not just survival now, but the systematic expulsion of the Niveri from Earth space. It would be a long campaign, years perhaps, but for the first time, it seemed possible. "Do you think they regret choosing Earth?" he asked. Ortiz looked up at the sky, where the debris of fallen Nevari ships created new patterns among the stars. "If they don't yet, they will." They came expecting an easy conquest and found instead that they had awakened something they don't understand. A species that refuses to accept extinction. In the command center below them, the next phase of humanity's counterattack was already being planned. Scientists studied captured technology, strategists mapped Nevari weaknesses, and soldiers prepared for offensives that would have seemed impossible months earlier. The resistance had become an army, scattered survivors transformed into a fighting force united by a single purpose: to ensure that the Nevari invasion of Earth would be remembered not as humanity's end, but as the invaders' greatest mistake. As night fell, new stars appeared in the sky. Not stars at all, but the lights of human spacecraft rising from reclaimed launch facilities, carrying the counterattack beyond Earth's atmosphere for the first time. The message to the Nevari was clear. Humanity was no longer just surviving. Humanity was fighting back.